Yeah, so we've been doing Filthy Animals for how long now?
We or me?
You. I've been doing it for a year and a half.
I reckon 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
How did you guys start? You started doing that during COVID, right?
Yes. So we were all locked down.
Yeah.
In fact, what happened, I think it was January, I went to the last Chisel tour.
Yeah.
That was the last time they toured at Sirime. And after that, lockdown. So they only just got the tail end of that tour in.
Yep.
And then I thought, okay, what am I going to do now? So no one could travel interstate. I couldn't play with Ian anymore.
Yeah.
And
it just killed the music first, right? We were like one of the first things to just be like, nah.
Yeah.
That's dead. And the last thing to come back.
Yeah. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was Sharon's idea. And she manages the band now, of course. She said, why don't you get a cover band together with some, do you know any musicians up here in Brisbane? Which I did. I knew Brett Williams from the Choirboys. And she said, okay, so why don't you try and get a band together with people from well-known bands because none of them can tour. Okay, who else do I know? And it kind of went on like that. We got in touch with OJ.
How do you know Brett?
I knew Brett because when I was working at the school I was teaching at,
yes.
I was putting on performances there every year and getting the bands in that I was working in at the time or had worked in to perform in front of the parents and the kids and do workshops and things like that. And that was really successful. So I did Dragon first with two drummers. Which is interesting.
Wow.
No, actually, I did Ian first.
Okay.
Then I did Dragon. Then I did. I was doing a tour with the Sorrows, so I got the Sorrows in, and then I got Leo Sayer in because I knew him from. Yeah, well, he lives here, I think, but but he was here at the time. And then, of course, the last one I did was the Choirboys. I was going to do Mondo Rock, and then COVID happened, so that fell through. But and that's how I met Brett, and I played in the Choirboys at that gig. So anyway, that's how it kind of came about. Then we found OJ from on bass, who
John
lived
Butler.
From John Butler, and Glenn, who we weren't sure where he was from. Yeah. We're still not. But
neither's he.
Sorry, Glenn. But
he's from the depths of hell, our Glenn.
Yeah, I think he made a couple of bands up. It didn't matter. But anyway, he'd understand that's a joke. And anyway, we got it together and we did a couple of shows and Sharon said, well, look, you get the band together and have a little rehearsal and I'll just do the admin. I'll make a few phone calls and you know how it's ended up.
Yeah, and you would have been like, yes, I don't have to do the worst part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Sharon can do it.
Anyway, it became this monster and she's trying to deal with that now. But the great thing about it all as well is that she comes from a media background and she ended up designing all the the logo and all the social media stuff. And of course, as you know and agree, it's all pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. Sharon, our wonderful manager and your partner, found me because of what I'd done on The Voice. So it all worked out really well. So that's why I'm singing for you, man. Yeah. We're doing some filthy stuff. Yeah. It worked out beautifully. Of course. Yeah. It's been if only we could have been doing I could have left the show and gone straight into touring with the Filthies. That would have been amazing because it's perfect. It's been a great run too, I have to say, and it still is, and it still will be. It's only growing. Yeah, it's really exciting, and I think about how, as you were saying, when you were a young bloke and when things were really really flying with Dragon, that was what people came out to do, to be entertained. There was no streaming, there was no poker machines, there was barely any TV. This is what you did. Whereas now. There are so many other things that are like so much more stimulating that people can do, glued to their phone or go to the movies or do whatever they're doing. Yeah. That the live music scene is more for people who that really gets them. Whereas before it was just that's what you did.
It was
even if you weren't
part
that
of the
into
course.
it. Yeah. So for us to be, I often think about how fulfilling it is to get up on stage with great musicians and sing songs that people sing back to me and that know the words. And every time we play a new song, like we played Jump by Van Halen or something, and as soon as that intro starts, everyone's like, oh yeah, and then we play the intro to April Sun and they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, man, imagine being in an original band where these are songs that we've created and everybody knows the words, which is exactly what you were doing.
Well, that's what I still do with Mossy as well. So, you know, you play those songs, those older songs from the Matchbook period, Bow River, and, you know, My Baby, or the Chisel stuff we do, and then, of course, you know, Tucker's Daughter. And,
yes.
You know, Out of the Fire, all those songs people sing along. And a lot of people. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's why we do it. Is to create joy, but to get that feedback from an audience. You know, there's nothing better than that.
Nah.
There's nothing better than exciting an audience.
And it's so, time kind of stops. I don't know about your experience, but for me, it's like a meditation.
I wish time had stopped for me. I'd probably be younger.
But yeah, for me, it's like a meditation where I'm so present and in the moment.
Yeah, I get that.
And and I guess that's probably why when you're playing your fills, you're not thinking, okay, I'm going to do the 16th snare roll into the, you know, you're just like, nah, this is what needs to happen here.
With me, it's more like, oh, Mark's doing that. Oh yeah, right. I might lead him into this section.
Sure.
You know, that's how I think.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of times when you have to go, guys, we're finishing the song now.
I'm going to let you know that we're
finishing. Okay.
The big triplet.
Yeah. There's a fair few. I talked with Lee about this, but one of the fun things about what we're doing, because Lee was talking about with Savage Garden, he had to play exactly the same thing every single time.
Yeah.
And that's what that required. And Randall said the same with Shania Twain. This is what you play.
Yeah.
You do not stray from that at all or you lose your job.
Yeah.
And what's that?
I was going to say exactly.
Yeah, exactly, dead on. And whereas what we're doing, which is what's so fun and filthy about the Filthy Animals, is it's looser than that. So, you know, sometimes
it's tight as, but it's loose.
Yeah. The parts that need to be are exactly the way they need to be. But there's moments where it's like, no, Dan's cooking on this solo at the moment. Let him go. You know, or something like that. And every now and then there's a real train wreck. But the fun part is when they don't know that we have completely derailed this thing and then managed to get it back on and then bring it home, and it all is beautiful. And like no one even knows, and we're up on stage like looking at each other going, oh fucking hell.
It's all that.
It's all fun, man. Yep. It is a real
this band has certainly been you know, it's exciting. And where we're kind of going is exciting too. Where Sharon's taking it is, you know, I don't know. We don't know where it's going to go, but it's going somewhere. It's certainly got that trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's exciting.
Yeah. The more gigs we play, we're getting more and more times where it's like it's a packed room. Yeah, and people rave about it.
They do. I know, and I often have to go, what is it? It's just a cover band.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's got ingredients that are a little different. I think the marketing is one of them.
Yeah.
I think the song choices are also another one.
And the execution of those songs that feel good, like
and the execution.
A lot of these songs are songs that like at that gig we did at Distillery Road, there was this young bloke who came up to me who must have been 10. And he was asking me what my favourite bands are, and we were talking about Chris Cornell, and we were talking about Screaming Jets and a bunch of the songs that we
Isn't
play.
That great?
And he was like, he knew all about it. I was like, do you know who this is? He's like, yeah. He loves it. And that's what's cool, I think, is that the playing those classic party rock songs, it doesn't really matter how old you are. If you are out in public, if you go to the supermarket, you're going to hear April Sun sooner or later. And it doesn't matter that it's an old song. It's still a good song, it's still there's something still special about it, and then to hear it and feel it live.
Actually, it blew me away when they before we went on, that sound guy played April Sun and Cuba. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And it sounded huge.
Yeah, it did.
He had it rocking.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Is that the original band there? Or is that a
redone cover?
A redone with a bigger drum? No, it was the original.
April Sun with subs.
Sounded huge with subs. I know.
Yeah.
And the drummer playing it the correct way.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's one thing that I think is lost on when you hear a recording as opposed to when you go to a gig. One thing that there's something that happens that I think is easy to forget. When you're at a gig, you're rubbing shoulders with other people. There's the energy of strangers and maybe loved ones, and that's exciting. Human beings, we need connection, right? So whenever you're doing that, you are feeling good. That's just what happens. But then it's usually dark. Maybe the floor's a bit sticky. Maybe you've had a few drinks. There's lights going on, and then it's loud, and you can feel that kick drum in your chest, especially if the sound's a good mix. And so there's all these extra things that are added on to the experience of music as opposed to sitting with your headphones on or listening through your phone to just...
absolutely,
and to be facilitating in that and bouncing off that is...
it's a whole experience.
Yeah.